Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and very good evening. Thank you for joining us this evening at a very short notice, both the international and the local media. The idea is to walk you through and share with you the current situation. I'm sure you must be following the developments in our region for the last few days since 22nd of April. We would be sharing, three of us. I'm joined by DG ISPR, Lieutenant General Ahmed Sharif, and my colleague, Mr. Shafqat Ali Khan, spokesperson and additional secretary for MOFA. We are, obviously, as we speak, the entire region is facing a serious threat to its peace and stability owing to the politically motivated and highly provocative environment being created by India in the wake of Pahalgam attack in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. The purpose of this interaction is to brief you about these developments and to share Pakistan's concerns at the highly irresponsible and destabilizing Indian actions and statements. We look forward to answering any questions after the briefing ends. Let me start by reiterating that Pakistan condemns terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. No cause or objective can possibly justify taking lives of innocent people. This is the national policy, and this is the Islamic policy. Killing of a human being tantamount, as per Quran, killing of the entire humanity. And saving a life tantamounts to saving the entire humanity. So we believe in that. Let me say that targeting of innocent civilians is surely deplorable and condemnable. And this is happening in many parts of the world, and we have been subscribing our views and our policy everywhere it happens. We are concerned over the loss of lives during the Pahalgam attack. We also extended our condolences. Being a victim of terrorism itself, no one can feel the pain of those impacted by this scourge like Pakistan. Ladies and gentlemen, as the member of the UN Security Council, Pakistan constructively engaged with the other members on the press statement which is issued by the UN Security Council on the Pahalgam incident in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. The UN Security Council statement contains condemnation in the strongest possible terms of the incident. On the other hand, it is India that glorifies and even celebrates its assassination campaign and sponsoring of terrorism in Pakistan and other countries. No other country has sacrificed as much as Pakistan, nor suffered so much due to terrorism. More than 80,000 lives have been sacrificed. Economic losses of about over $150 billion have been incurred. And in totality, the economic and the indirect losses add up to close to $500 billion. We have been working closely with the international community to address this common threat. Since 22nd of April, Foreign Office has been actively involved and in interacting with the international community. At least a dozen foreign ministers, deputy prime ministers, and the Prime Minister, I have been in touch and have discussed and explained the situation. And I'm sure, you being from the media must be already up to date, because MOFA as a policy, after each interaction with any dignitary, we make a very brief statement as to that interaction. The countless sacrifices made by our valiant law enforcement agencies, as well as common citizens, have helped address the threat of terrorism and contributed towards regional and international peace and stability. In fact, Pakistan has been a victim of terrorism that is planned, orchestrated, and sponsored by India. In this backdrop, it is preposterous to even suggest any kind of association of Pakistan with this incident. The hype that is created on each and every incident in India seems to be deliberate and choreographed. It is unfortunate that India continues to weaponize unsubstantiated accusations and allegations as part of its disinformation strategy for narrow political ends. This is not the first time that India has resorted to such tactics. They have done it before and they have resorted again to the same what they did in Pulwama incident and earlier ones. In fact, this has now become a very familiar template aimed at diverting attention from India's inability to suppress the inalienable right of the Kashmiris to self-determination, its security failures in illegally Indian-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, as well as its decades-long state terrorism and oppression. To distract the international community's attention from the horrors of what's happening in the Indian illegally held Kashmir, India deliberately raises tensions with Pakistan. A durable solution for India lies in focusing on its internal problems instead of raising fingers on other countries. India has been deploying the allegations of terrorism to achieve a strategic objective for long. India has a history of using the excuse of terrorism for introducing draconian laws to suppress the innocent Kashmiris in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir and to defy the UN Security Council resolutions, bilateral agreements, and international law. A case in point being India's illegal and unilateral actions of 5th of August 2019 reminds us of the blatant violation of the relevant UN Security Council resolutions and the Fourth Geneva Convention, as well as India's own commitments. India needs to explain why such incidents usually coincide with high-profile visits. Please make no mistake, the root cause of instability and conflict in South Asia is the unresolved and long-festering Jammu and Kashmir dispute. India's illegal occupation of the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir in stark violation of the UN Security Council resolutions and grave violations of the human rights must remain a matter of grave concern for the international community. At the same time, all such incidents are used to whip up domestic political sentiment for narrow political gains. We remain extremely concerned at the very vitriolic, highly inflammatory, and blatantly Islamophobic narrative being directed against the Kashmiris and the Indian Muslims. Indian media and political leaders are directing a similar discourse against Pakistan. This highly irresponsible ploy for narrow objective gains is dragging the entire region towards extreme instability. India made allegations against Pakistan after the Pahalgam attack without an iota of evidence and with such dramatic speed. Pakistan has nothing to do with it, and we have said so right from the beginning, and I repeat, Pakistan has nothing to do with Pahalgam incident, period. We demand an independent and transparent probe by neutral investigators as announced by the Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mohammad Shahbaz Sharif. Any TORs in this regard should be credible and mutually agreed. Pakistan has neither any connection to it, as I explained, nor is the potential beneficiary. At a time when Pakistan economy is stabilizing and we are making significant progress against terrorism, we need to question why this situation is being created by India all of a sudden and what is the motivation behind it. The actions that India has announced after its Cabinet Committee on Security are illegal and highly irresponsible. Holding in abeyance of the Indus Water Treaty is unilateral and illegal. There are no such provisions in the treaty. It cannot be amended without consensus. It cannot be terminated without consensus. And in case of any disagreement or issues, there are forums provided in the treaty which should be invoked. This action shows India's blatant disregard for the sanctity of international treaties. It sets a dangerous precedent. It strikes at a fundamental pillar of the regional cooperation with profound implications for regional and global stability. Pakistan is an agrarian economy. Millions of people are dependent on the waters being regulated by this treaty. Please don't forget we gave up three rivers in this treaty. And I hardly can find a water distribution treaty in the world whereby a part of dealing with the distribution of water, the rivers could have only also been given up. I can't find. The National Security Committee of Pakistan has made it very clear that any attempt to stop or divert the flow of water belonging to Pakistan as per the Indus Water Treaty and the usurpation of the rights of the low riparian will be considered as an act of war. It is equivalent to an attack on the people of Pakistan and its economy. Other diplomatic measures by India are indiscriminate and unnecessary. India's actions and inflammatory rhetoric in the last few days are highly irresponsible. Being a responsible member of the international community, Pakistan believes in restraint and remains committed to regional peace and stability. However, in case of any act of aggression, Pakistan remains determined to defend its sovereignty and territorial integrity in exercise of its inherent right to self-defense as enshrined in Article 51 of the UN Charter. The world leaders I have been speaking to in the last few days after this incident, who have been requesting for the exercise of restraint, I have been making it very clear on behalf of our government, on behalf of the nation, Pakistan will not be the first one to resort to any escalatory move. However, in case of any escalatory move by the Indian side, we will respond very strongly. Let me raise some questions that need to be considered with respect to the Pahalgam incident. One, is it not the time for the international community to hold India accountable for its transnational assassinations in different countries, including Pakistan? Two, is it not important to distinguish between the international community's sympathy with victims of the incident and unwitting endorsement of Indian belligerence? Three, is it not that Indian propaganda is aimed at fabricating a casus belli for a military adventure? Four, don't you think that India's blatant disregard of international law and whimsical approach towards its obligations would lead to a highly unstable and unpredictable regional order? Five, isn't it high time for the international community to step in to condemn India and to prevent it from targeting people on the basis of Islamophobia and religious hatred? Six, can we deny that the dangerous Indian brinkmanship and efforts aimed at escalation can potentially lead to disastrous consequences in a nuclearized region and beyond? Notwithstanding above, Pakistan is cognizant of the developing situation. We are very alert, the armed forces are alert, and the National Security Committee resolve is very much there. We are vigilant, our armed forces are vigilant, and the nation will thwart any misadventure, responding in a befitting and decisive manner at the time and place of our choosing. Let me also share with you that it took no time that we issued the statement expressing our condolences. I was with Prime Minister in Ankara on an official 36 hours visit. After we landed, the news came, and the moment the meetings for which we had gone there ended in the evening, I was in touch with the Foreign Office, and the Foreign Secretary and I and the team finalized in consultation with the stakeholders, Pakistan's statement on this incident, number one. Number two, a press statement was lodged by US in the UN Security Council, and we received that statement. And prima facie, there were two I'm not sure whether they were intentional or there were two important things which were missing there. One was missing, one was additional. The Pahalgam did not have in which part of the world, so we insisted Jammu and Kashmir to be added. Number two, there was a reference to the resistance forum, and there was a condemnation of that forum. We were happy to do that, but we asked, can we have any evidence? Or even if they have self-claimed that they have done this, we'll be very happy. So obviously, we, on principles, all other 14 members agreed to our objections, amended the press statement, which has strongest condemnation with respect to the terrorist attack in Pahalgam. So don't tell me that Pakistan is not condemned. There are different forums of condemnation. Pakistan has condemned at the international forum, where it is a responsible, one of the 15 members of the UN Security Council. Pakistan highest security forum, which is National Security Committee, has condemned it. We've condemned terrorism in all its manifestation, all forms and manifestations. Prime Minister has given a very clear condemnation statement when he offered the independent inquiry, impartial, transparent inquiry by independent, actors. So this is something rhetoric which the other side has been playing, that we did not condemn, we didn't do this. That is all wrong. So this is a brief detail I have shared with you, my opening statement. My colleagues sitting with me, spokesperson will walk you through with the more detailed specific facts, and then, where necessary, Lieutenant General Sharif would step in to augment the facts. So over to you, Shafqat sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We have the Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister has provided a detailed policy statement which outlines very clearly the main contours of Pakistan's policy on this development and what is happening in our region. We have a bit more detailed information to share with our colleagues and friends here, and this is basically an attempt to further build on what the Deputy Prime Minister has already articulated. And essentially, it is an effort to clear the fog of confusion and also to remove the miasma of disinformation, basically, and to clearly lay out Pakistan's perspective. So the sequence we are following is basically just to give you an outline of how our detailed presentation would flow. So first we will speak a few words about the Pahalgam incident, some details about geography, what happened. The second is the question of the larger problems which we have been witnessing, which is very evident, is the fake encounters and illegally held Pakistani prisoners in India. The third and very crucial, very important, it feeds into this whole picture, is the Indian-sponsored and abetted terrorism in Pakistan. This we will explain in some detail how it is happening and what are the mechanics and what are the implications of this. And finally, the last two sections deal with the internal repression in India and stifling of freedom of expression, basically. So the first part I'll start is the Pahalgam incident. Can we slide? Yeah, okay. So you have a good view of it. The incident occurred in Pahalgam, which is about 230 kilometers from the line of control, or 100 kilometers the crow flight distance. And it's a known tourist area. And it's very clear if you look at this map which has been on display here, the area is hilly and slightly treacherous in nature. An important detail now, this please keep in mind. The attack took place between 1350 to 1420 hours. This is the time window when this attack is taking place. But the FIR was registered at 1430 hours, within 10 minutes. Unfortunately, there were 26 people died. There was, including one Nepali national, and 16 people were injured. Indian security forces reached the site and launched a search operation, but 8 days have passed. So far, there is no news of any arrest, suspects information being shared about suspects or evidence being shared. But it is also even more interesting is that, first of all, in 10 minutes, FIR was registered, but with equal alacrity, the Indian social media accounts, they all follow a certain pattern. They are affiliated with the Indian External Intelligence Agency. We will give more detail about that. And they, in 10 minutes time, I think the attack lasted till 1420 hours. Within short span of time, immediately Pakistan was started being blamed, although there was no evidence, nothing, no detailed information, but this being was pinned on Pakistan very, very quickly. And this is something very interesting to reflect on. The next, no, it's a pichli slide pe jaye. The slide before this. Yes. The other point is also you have to keep in view that when we are talking about 10-minute difference between the writing of FIR and the incident, it is a hilly track. Its minimum time is 30 minutes you need to get to the police station. This is very important to keep in view. So, but again, just to repeat myself, sounding repetitive, but the FIR is registered in a matter of 10 minutes. The timing raises serious questions about how information was processed so quickly. And writing of FIR is that it needs certain deliberation. Maybe someone called, but the point is you need to gather, this is the first information report, you have to have some contours of what happened actually before you get into the writing of the FIR. And that too in such difficult terrain, how all of this was done, basically. From this onward, now come to the next slide. I will now request the Director General ISPR, Lieutenant General Sharif, to take over this, the other part of the presentation. He'll share more details on this. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. As the spokesperson has already given you an orientation of the area. So if you see the first slide, if you can go to the first slide, I'll just tilt a bit so that I'll be able to go along with you. If you can go to the map slide. If you see, this is the, if this is the crow distance from the Badori Bulge at the place, it is approximately 100 kilometers. And on the road and tracks, it is more than 200 kilometers. But that is from the tip of the Badori Bulge. From any nearest Pakistani town, let's say it's Bagh, it's even much more. So, what we are trying to do here is to walk you through facts of this incident rather than the allegations that are being made. So, if the allegation is that it's the Pakistan-based so-called terrorists did this incident, then you need to be cognizant of where it lies, how far deep it is inside the illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. If you see the terrain on this map slide, you will see that it's quite hilly. It's not the sort of terrain which is very friendly, and not a sort of terrain where the all-weather fair roads exist. It's mostly on 4x4 and the horseback that the travel is being done over there. If you go to the next slide, so there's a track, then comes the road. So approximately, if you see, it takes about, we can estimate that about 30 minutes for someone to move from the incident site to the police station. So if the incident, as per the FIR, was from 1350 and it is 1420 hours, so how it was humanly possible that within 10 minutes, the police was there, evaluated the situation, went back and registered the FIR. And if we see this FIR closely, there are 3 points. The time factor, the time aspect has been, I think, repeatedly, clearly enunciated. There are 2 more things that I would like to draw your attention. That the FIR lodged after 10 minutes states that these were across the border. The handlers of this incident were across the border. So they established it in 10 minutes. While the incident was going on, before that, the intelligence or the security was so, we can say, flat that the incident happened, there was no intelligence, but within 10 minutes, they had such complete intelligence that they were established that it was across the border handlers. And secondly, it says over there that there was indiscriminate firing. However, we also know that a consistent narrative was made, is being made, that this act of terrorism was done on base of religion, that the Muslims, that it was the segregation was done and Hindus were killed. So I would request if you can go to the next slide. Now, if you please see this clip which has been made at the time of incident. Please run it.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
You can see that the firing and whatever happening is not, there is no discrimination or segregation being done. Are the people being segregated, identified on the basis of religion? You can see in the background while this video is being made, right at the time of incident. Because this is that incident on the basis of which the segregation on the basis of religion has been claimed. So, because the facts speak for themselves. On the next clip, he is the brother of the Muslim victim of this act of that happened of the killing of the innocent citizens over there. Listen to him.
जो मैं सुन रहा हूँ कि हिंदू मुस्लिम ये सब गलत है, क्योंकि मेरा भाई जो है जीती जागती मिसाल है उसका. ये जो बोल रहे हैं कि खाली हिंदू को टारगेट किया गया, उसमें मेरा भाई भी है, वो मुस्लिम है. ये गलत बात है, इन्होंने मतलब गलत चीज फैलाई है.
So why this self-made narrative is being made? That is a question that has already been raised by the Honorable Deputy Prime Minister. If you go to the next slide, you see that immediately after incident at about 3 o'clock, the social media, the particular social media handlers in India started Breaking the news at 3:05, exactly at 3:05 on the social media, a handle which is closely affiliated with their agencies put the blame on Pakistan. It says Pakistan attacked Pahalgam through its proxies. Then the electronic media also comes into play. At 3:30, the electronic media is also saying that it's the Pakistan that is being done. You can listen to this.
There are reports coming in of 4 tourists who have been targeted. They've been attacked by the terrorists in Pahalgam.
Well, telltale signs of Pakistan's involvement is now emerging behind the Pahalgam terror attack.
So this confirmation is clear now that there were Pakistani terrorists.
Pakistan is not willing to digest that so much improvement has taken place in Jammu and Kashmir. So Pakistan is going to keep making such attempts.
So the allegations of Pakistan being responsible started coming within minutes while the evidence is still awaited. And on the next, this social media post, which is at around 4 o'clock, you can see, if you go to the previous slide, if you see at 4 o'clock, they were sure and they started saying that it is the Islamist terrorists that have killed tourists. So the narrative of the Islamist terrorists, while we are absolutely clear that terrorism has no religion. There are no Islamic terrorists. There are no Christian terrorists. And there are also no even Hindu terrorists, because terrorists have no religion. If you go to the next slide, I'll draw your attention towards that these social media accounts that started propagating that it's Pakistan, it's Islamic terrorism, they have been in play in this business of terrorism much before. Here you can see that Mianwali, 4th November, once the attack occurred. So you see at one day before, the same social media accounts that are active in Pahalgam, the Indian social media accounts affiliated with their agency, one day before, that social media account is saying, tomorrow is a big day, so going to bed early. You can see that. And next day, it says, it quote tweets and says, good morning, Mianwali. And there we see the Mianwali terror incident being done by the Fitna al-Khawarij. So this is a collusion with the Fitna al-Khawarij, with the terror incident that happened in Mianwali on 4th of November 2023. Then comes 6th October 2024, the attack on our Chinese friends in Karachi. Before the attack, there is, from the same handle, there is a tweet which says, big day in the next few hours. And then it says, huge blast in Karachi, more details to follow. And then the targeted ID explosion in Karachi near airport, car carrying engineer, foreigner, perhaps Chinese. So there you see the collusion for the world to see that how the choreography is being done of predicting that we are going to hit, where, when the attack happens, and then its glorification on social media. And if you follow the media, then the electronic media automatically comes within minutes into play. And same thing you are seeing in Pahalgam. Why I'm making this point? Because if you do this forensic, this common sense forensic, you see that what happened also in Pahalgam. Moving forward, very recently, the Jafar Express, same account. Keep your eyes on Pakistan today and tomorrow. And then comes big Jafar Express train carrying Pakistani forces personnel from Quetta to Peshawar attack. The same accounts that are active carrying the narrative of the Islamist terrorists, Pakistan being responsible on play over here. But let's see if we want to understand what happened at Pahalgam, that what are the people there in India and Kashmir saying? Let's see what they are saying, who are actually over there.
10 लाख से ज्यादा यहाँ पर आर्मी है. अगर यहाँ पर पोस्ट कोई शेयर करेगा ना, उसको रात में ही उठा ले, रात में ही उठा लेंगे. अगर कोई पोस्ट गलत करेगा कोई शेयर, अगर यहाँ पर इतना फौज है, वो क्या कर रही है? वो जख मार रहे हैं. वहाँ पर 200 बंदे थे, तब वहाँ पर क्यों नहीं आर्मी थी? क्यों नहीं थी? वो कहाँ गई?
पहलगाम की जिम्मेदारी किसकी है? जिम्मेदारी तो सरकार ने लेनी चाहिए. पहलगाम की जिम्मेदारी, 27 लोगों की जान गई, वहाँ पे सिक्योरिटी क्यों नहीं थी? क्यों निकाली गई? तो तुम्हारा इंटेलिजेंस क्या कर रहा था? वो फेलियर नहीं है, ये सरकार का फेलियर नहीं है. ये प्लान करके मत करो.
सरकार तो गई हुई है, मतलब इतना बड़ा आतंकवादी का हमला हुआ, हमें कुछ पता ही नहीं है. पूरे आर्मी का देश है, उन्हें पता ही नहीं है.
चक्के नाकों पर आपके हर जगह आपको मिलिट्री दिखेगी, पुलिस दिखेगी, सीआरपीएफ दिखेगी. किस लिए? बॉर्डर पे हैं तो कहां से आए? जहां तक पहुंचे हैं तो वापस कहां गए? जिस तरीके से किया गया रिटेलिएशन नहीं हो सकता है.
अगर 7 लाख से 12 लाख के आसपास यहाँ सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस है, उसके बावजूद उनको ये पता नहीं इंटेलिजेंस फेलियर. 3 टायर सिक्योरिटी रहते हुए भी एक ऐसा लैब्स हुआ, और ये सिक्योरिटी लैब्स है.
What happened to our intelligence? Have we failed somewhere? And if we have, why have we failed?
Intelligence
फेलियर है, सिक्योरिटी फेलियर है. यहाँ 7 लाख फौजी है जमा कश्मीर में. एक छोटा सा इलाका है, 7 लाख फौजी है, वो कहाँ है?
वहाँ पे गाड़ी नहीं जा रही है, पैदल इंसान जा रहा है. सिक्योरिटी इतनी है कि वहाँ से कहाँ से टेररिस्ट कहाँ से आ गए? वहाँ कहीं ना कहीं इनकी एजेंसी अटैक करवाती.
The questions that the Honorable Deputy Prime Minister has raised, they are being echoed also within from India, because the facts are there for the people to see. Hear them out.
पुलवामा 1 में कोई उत्तर नहीं मिला देशवासियों. ये संयोग नहीं है, प्रयोग है. पूरी देश की जनता, मैं नहीं कह रहा हूं, पूरी देश की जनता. देखिए, काफी लोगों को ये नहीं पता है कि पहलगांव कहां है, चंदनवाड़ी कहां है, विष्णु टॉप कहां है, गणेश टॉप कहां है, शेषनाग कहां है, अमरनाथ क्या है.
आज 3 दिन हो गए हैं, अभी तक एक भी इस्तीफा क्यों नहीं आया, या कोई भी किसी ने भी अकाउंटेबिलिटी क्यों नहीं लिया है? आप क्या सरकार और क्या डिफेंस और क्या आप होम मिनिस्ट्री चला रहे हैं? आपसे अभी तक वो आतंकवादी पकड़े तक नहीं गए हैं. बेवकूफ नहीं है हम लोगों को सब समझ आता है.
कोई इंटेलिजेंस फेलियर नहीं था, इंटेलिजेंस इनपुट्स होने के बावजूद अटैक हो गए.
ये घटना घटी है, इससे लाभ किसको हो रहा है? कहाँ ढूंढते फिरोगे भाई? जो तो आपके बीच में यही घूम रहा हो. क्या कोई कश्मीर के लोग अपने यहाँ पे घटना करके आबाद होंगे?
This is the sister of the naval officer killed in that incident, that for 1.5 hours he kept on bleeding. So they could file, they can do the evaluation within 10 minutes that what happened, and they had filed an FIR against Pakistan. Within minutes, their social media is saying, and their officer is bleeding for 1.5 hours.
इसका मतलब ये चुप नहीं है, ये किसी आने वाली चीज की आहट होने वाली है. जैसे एक साइलेंस होता है ना कुछ होने से पहले, कश्मीर भी उसी ट्रिगर पर है.
देश में अब तक के सारे बड़े आतंकी हमले भाजपा की सरकार में हुए हैं, और भाजपा की सरकार आते ही देश और देशवासी सभी खतरे में आ जाते हैं. पहलगाम हमले के बाद से ही सरकारी कवियों ने पाकिस्तान के खिलाफ मोर्चा खोल दिया है और वीर रस की कविताएं पढ़ना शुरू कर चुके हैं. देश के गृह मंत्री ने अपना इस्तीफा क्यों नहीं लिखा, और प्रधानमंत्री को हमले के तुरंत बाद आतंकियों को धमकाने के लिए बिहार में रैली करने की क्या जरूरत पड़ गई?
जम्मू कश्मीर के पहलगाम के निकट मिनी स्विट्जरलैंड कहे जाने वाले वेस्टर्न घाटी में आतंकी हमला हुआ. डॉक्टर राहत इंदौरी साहब की पंक्तियां हैं, सरहद पर बहुत तनाव है क्या, कुछ पता तो करो, चुनाव है क्या.
So these questions that we are raising, that we are thinking, that the world is thinking, the most loud voice in fact is coming inside from India. The people who are seeing and watching what's happening. Now if you go to the next slide, is it first time that it's happening? No. There is a litany of using terror incidents for political ends. This is important, that these terror incidents have an objective, a political objective. We saw last time in case of Pulwama that how the terror incident in February was used for a political objective for change of status of Kashmir. And we are seeing now that a terror incident that an incident that happened in Pahalgam is being used for the purpose of Indus Water Treaty, for distracting the Pakistan's continuous and very hardly fought and won war on the terrorism, the CT effort of Pakistan, and the efforts, the successful efforts for reviving the economy. And there is a list of these incidents. I'll just give you examples of 2 incidents. If you go on the next slide, so the history speaks for itself, that what happened in the Chatti Singhpura 2000, exactly 25 years ago.
Captain Sir, they were misused. ਰਾਤ ਨੂੰ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਸੀ, ਪੂਰੀ ਪਲਾਨ ਬਣਾਈ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ, ਯੂਨੀਫਾਰਮ 'ਚ ਆਉਣਾ, ਰਫਲਾਂ ਟੰਗ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਦਰਖਤਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨਾਲ ਖੇਲਣ ਕੋਲ ਲੱਗ ਪਏ, CID ਪੂਰੀ ਕੱਢ ਲਈ ਸੀ ਪਿੰਡ ਇਸ ਪਿੰਡ 'ਚ, ਕਿਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਸੌਂਦੇ, ਕਿਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਆ ਕਰਦੇ, ਕਿੰਨੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਹੈ, ਕੌਣ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ, ਮੇਲਸ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਨੇ, ਹਥਿਆਰ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਨੇ, ਸਭ ਕੁਝ ਕੱਢ ਲਿਆ. And then one night they came, ਆਉਂਦੇ ਸੀ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਵੀ ਚੈਕਿੰਗ ਕੇ ਲਈ ਨਿਕਲ ਆਓ ਬਾਹਰ ਆਓ, ਸਾਰੇ ਆਓ, ਮੇਲ ਸਾਰੇ ਬਾਹਰ ਆ ਜਾਓ, ਉਹ ਲਾਈਨ ਅਪ ਕਰ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਸੀ. ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਉੱਦਾਂ ਹੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਰਹੇ, ਫਰੈਂਡਲੀ ਲਾਈਨ ਅਪ. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੌਨਫੀਡੈਂਸ ਦੇ ਦਿੱਤਾ, ਫਿਰ ਫੈਸਲਾ ਕੀਤਾ, ਅੱਧੀ ਕੁ ਦਿਨ ਆ ਗਏ, 10 ਵਜੇ ਰਾਤ, ਨਿਕਲੋ ਬਾਹਰ, ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਲਾਈਨ ਅਪ ਕਰੇ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਭੱਜ ਜਾਓ ਪਿੰਡ ਛੱਡ ਕੇ. ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਆਰਮੀ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਕੋਈ ਐਕਸ਼ਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਇਆ, ਤਾਂ ਕੋਈ we gave the full report. We said army was involved. Clinton kicked them out. And due to me, a lot of lives have been lost. I want to know exactly what happened. The other human rights organization, United Nations, sent. And we sent them the report. क्या हुआ? They knew. Americans knew. तो उस killing के पीछे political reasons भी थे? No. Only this. That exposed the BJP government, and BJP government wanted to tell Clinton J&K की हो रहा, पाकिस्तान के खिलाफ प्रोपेगेंडा करना सी. ये देखो पाकिस्तान की कर रहे हैं, पाकिस्तानी साढ़े सिख लाइन अप करके मारते. So basically BJP planted this to impress Clinton to help India against Pakistan. तुसी मान नहीं सकते, वो तो बाद जब ये रौला पिया, फिर अडवाणी ने फिर ऑर्डर दिया कि देखो जल्दी से कुछ करो जिससे कन्विंस हो जाए भी इन्होंने किया था, ये वो पकड़ लो किसी को. इन्होंने 5 इनोसेंट बंदे कश्मीरी पहाड़ के ऊपर जाके मारते कि they were innocent boys.
Are you listening? After a quarter of a century, it's the same playbook being repeated again and again, using incidents like Pahalgam, like Chatti Singhpura, like Pulwama for political objectives. If you see, the history also tells us what was actually Pulwama. Please listen carefully to the then governor of the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir.
पुलवामा की शहादत को याद रखो, और अब हम बालाकोट करेंगे, ये करेंगे, वो करेंगे. उसको इलेक्शन के लिए यूज करना चाहते थे कि ये पाकिस्तान ने किया, हमारे जवान मारे और अब हम हराएंगे. कि अब ये सारा ऑनर्स पाकिस्तान की तरफ जाना है तो चुप रहिए.
मतलब ये एक तरह की सरकार की चालू पॉलिसी थी कि blame Pakistan,
Exactly.
and we will get credit, and it will help our election.
Exactly.
Blame Pakistan to win, to take credit, win elections. Now, there is another important fact that needs to be considered in the situation that the region is facing today, and that is the phenomenon of the fake encounters using the illegally held Pakistani prisoners in India. We have the reports, we have the information that hundreds of Pakistanis being held by the Indians in different jails and locations are used in fake encounters projected as terrorists and infiltrators. I'll give you just few examples. This boy, Zia Mustafa, he was a minor in October 2013. He was taken in custody while he inadvertently crossed. shot down in a fake encounter on 14th October 2021. Listen to this story as told by his family.
ये जो इंडिया वाले हैं, मैं कहती हूँ इनको तो इनके सीनों में दिल है ही नहीं ना। इनके सीनों में अगर दिल होता ना तो ये कुछ ना करते। इतना अरसा उन्होंने कैद में रख के तो आखिर में जब उनका फैसला होना था तो उन्होंने उनको इनकाउंटर कर दिया और इन्होंने हमें उनकी ना डेड बॉडी दी।
पाला भी था वो, मेरे घर में भी नीचे आता था, मामी मामी करता था, इधर ही बाहर ही खेलता था। माँ ने बहुत मुश्किल दिन गुजारे, उनकी आंख नजर भी चली गई थी रो रो के। तो बस जब कोई इधर कोई आता था उनको मिलने के लिए कहते ज़िया मुस्तफ़ा की कोई खबर है नहीं है, हम यही कहते थे कि वो आएगा, इंशाल्लाह ज़रूर आएगा। कहती थी कि मैं देख के मर जाऊं तो फिर कोई अफसोस नहीं है।
मेरी वालिदा मोहतरमा उसके इंतज़ार में वो वफात पा गई और इसी तरह से हमारे बड़े भाई, 2 बड़े भाई फौत हुए उसके इंतज़ार में। हमारा वो प्यारा बच्चा वो इस तरह से मार दिया, तो जेल से बाहर निकाल के ऐसे फर्जी नाम दे के कि उसको पता नहीं कौन सी जंगलात का पता था, उसको क्या पता था। जालिमो तुम्हारे वो जेल में है, जेल से कैसे कोई बंदा राब्ता कर सकता है।
I will now give you 2 very recent examples post Pahalgam incident. If you see this slide, there you can see 2 unfortunate Kashmiri. One is Muhammad Farooq and Muhammad Deen. They are both elderly. They were both elderly 50 years ago, 50 years plus. Just few days ago on 24th April, they are residents of Uri, and they were killed in a fake encounter by the Indians. If you see the dead bodies, that the Indians showed that they are infiltrators. The Muhammad Farooq, he is wearing joggers. His clothes are absolutely clean. And what they have put beside, after killing him, beside him, is a pistol. Is this the infiltrator where there is infested with regular forces going to take on a regular army, and those security forces wearing joggers and a pistol that they planted along with his body? On the other side, look at the shoes. He's wearing Mukeshan, shining shoes. You kill innocent, you plant evidence on them, and then you call them infiltrators? And what are these village people telling? That are they terrorists? Are they infiltrators? Listen to them.
हमारा यहाँ असमिया हो गया है। ये 2 हमारे बुजुर्ग भाई ये सदियों से जा रहे हैं, इनका बाप दादा यहाँ का रहने वाला है। आलोसी के करीब ये गाँव है, कई मालिक बेशी गुम हो जाता है। आलोसी के करीब उनको ढूंढने के लिए ये इंडिया आर्मी ने शहीद कर दिए। वो मार कर कहते हैं कि ये दहशतगर्द है, दहशतगर्द के नहीं है। हमारे 2 भाई इंडियन आर्मी ने इनको शहीद कर दिया है। वो गाँव के ज़ईफ़ुल उम्र थे, उनकी 50-60 साल उम्र थी, और उन्होंने रिपोर्ट में डाल दिया कि ये पाकिस्तान के दहशतगर्द थे। दहशतगर्द नहीं थे, वो ज़ईफ़ुल उम्र थे। एक का नाम मलिक फारूक और दूसरे का नाम नगरदार। ये कोई दहशतगर्दी में नहीं पाए जाते हैं कि अरसा दराज से यहाँ रहते हैं। इंडियन आर्मी ने फायर करके उनको हलाक कर दिया।
मेरे 2 भाई अपना माल मवेशी ढूंढने के लिए एलओसी लाइन के करीब गए तो इंडियन आर्मी वालों ने फायर करके दोनों को शहीद कर दिया।
This is what they are trying to fabricate even after post Pahalgam, that the Pakistan is sending infiltrators and terrorists. You kill innocent people yourself. You plant weapons, and then you claim them as infiltrators. You claim them that the Pakistani security forces have sent them. Ask yourself that who is doing state-sponsored terrorism over here. Next example. This is 23rd April, just few days ago, a fake encounter that happened in Kupwara. Please hold your breath and see what they do once they are planting, once they are making their bodies, how they mutilate those bodies. Listen to this. These are soldiers of a professional army, hacking the head of a body of an innocent person and showing that these are the terrorists. This happened on 23rd of April in Kupwara. And that's why, if you go to the next slide, once you keep on seeing on the Indian media and their so-called evidence that this person has been found and this person has been found, from where are these persons coming? These are these Pakistani citizens, the Kashmiri citizens, who are held in different jails, in different locations. Like that poor boy Zia Mustafa and many other incidents that are on record, who are brought out of the jails, killed in fake encounters, tortured, forced to give confessional statements, posed as terrorists. This is the facts, this is the reality of what's going on behind all these incidents. Next, I would like to say few words and take a few minutes on the state-sponsored, the Indian-sponsored and abetted terrorism in Pakistan. Let's start with what the Indians themselves say about it. Please listen.
बलूचिस्तान के लोगों ने, वहाँ के नागरिकों ने जिस प्रकार से मुझे बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद दिया है, उसका आदर करते हैं, वो मेरे 125 करोड़ देशवासियों का है.
Pakistan's vulnerability is many times higher than of India. Once they know that India has shifted its gear from the defensive mode to defensive offense, they will find that it is unaffordable for them. You can do one Mumbai, you may lose Balochistan.
प्रधानमंत्री जी का लाल किले से बयान अपने आप में पहला है और मुझे बड़ी खुशी हुई इस बयान को सुनकर.
इस फोन में बुक्ति, मरी, मंगल, कौन से सरदार का नंबर चाहिए मुझे बोलो, मैं दूंगा बलूचिस्तान में.
अगर हम पाकिस्तान के अंदर उनकी जो इंसरेक्शनिस्ट मूवमेंट्स हैं,
Former Chief of Indian Army talking.
हमें वो करना चाहिए.
उन्होंने बलूची को दबा के और गुलाम बना के रखे, तो उनको मुक्त करना है.
The aims and the targets of RAW to conduct the various terrorist
Kulbhushan
activities.
Yadav, all of you are familiar with this Indian serving officer.
And any kinds of requirements of them are conveyed back to the RAW officials.
बैरून मुमालिक के फंड्स लेकर अपनी ऐश वशरत की जिंदगी गुजार रहे थे. आम मासूम बलोचों को मरवा रहे हैं. इस तमाम साजिशों में खासकर इंडिया का हाथ है.
मेरा मुलाकात हमसाया मुल्क के इंटेलिजेंस वालों से हुआ. हम आपको सपोर्ट करेंगे रियासत पाकिस्तान को गैर मुस्तकिम होने के लिए.
एक महसूस ताकत बलोच को सिर्फ एक प्रेशर ग्रुप के तौर पर इस्तेमाल करना चाहते हैं, या मैं समझता हूँ कि इसका नुकसान सिर्फ बलूच कौम का हो रहा है. दुनिया की नजरें तो हैं इस पे, इससे तो कोई इनकार नहीं कर सकता.
So these were the leaders of multiple terrorist groups operating in Balochistan, who, having after surrendered, are revealing in detail that how they were funded, they were helped, and how their sponsorship was done by India. In the next slide, you can see a terrorist operating and sponsored by India, Aslam Achu, in Indian hospital, and an Indian provided passport of Afghanistan office. In next slide, you can see that once the Jafar Express happened, the internationally recognized terrorist organization BLA, his spokesperson, where was he sitting? He was sitting on Indian channels, wearing a mask, coming on multiple Indian channels, and glorification of a terrorist sect, which, by the way, the state of India has not shown any concern or condemned so far. And they are glorifying it, taking its spokesperson over here.
बहुत बड़े पैमाने का एक ऑपरेशन है, सैकड़ों यरगमाली है, फिर उसमें फौजी भी है. बलोच लिबरेशन आर्मी की मजीद ब्रिगेड इसको लीड कर रही है. उसके जो खसूसी दस्ते हैं स्पेशल.
This is again very interesting. This footage that the Indian TV channels showed was made by the terrorists once actually the Jafar Express ID was blown. So this was only available with terrorists. And who are the first electronic channels who started showing it? It's the Indian channels. See it.
The attack took place at around 1 p.m. when the train passed through the Bolan Pass.
Big news coming in from Pakistan. Baloch army say that more than 100 Pakistani army personnel have been taken hostage. It's a big claim being made by the BLA. 6 soldiers of the Pakistan army have been neutralized.
Artificial intelligence images being created.
The Pakistani train was hit by
Old images which are not related to the incident being used to show that terror incident has been. So this is vehement, clear glorification of terrorism being done in Pakistan. If you move to the next slide, you will find that not long ago, it was Pakistan, as repeatedly has been telling this, and this is the evidence that Pakistan put in front in this room on Indian sponsored and abetted terrorism in Pakistan once the transnational killings of Pakistanis was done. Listen to this clip also.
We have credible evidence of the links between Indian agents and the assassination of 2 Pakistani nationals on Pakistani soil. These are killings for hire cases. Indian agents use technology and safe havens on foreign soil to commit assassinations in Pakistan. An Indian agent, Yogesh Kumar, orchestrated the assassination. We have documentary, financial and forensic evidence of the involvement of the 2 Indian agents who masterminded these assassinations.
And is it only restricted to Pakistan? No, it's not. It's transnational. Listen to what the other parts and the leaders of the other countries are saying.
Canadian security agencies have been actively pursuing credible allegations of a potential link between agents of the government of India and the killing of a Canadian citizen, Hardeep Singh Nijjar.
The allegations that a representative of a foreign government may have been involved in the killing of a Canadian citizen here in Canada on Canadian soil is not only troubling, but it is completely unacceptable.
This is something we take very seriously. A number of us have raised this directly with the Indian government.
If the BJP administration is actively plotting to kill political opponents in the US and Canada, just imagine what's happening in India itself.
So once we say that we have got nothing to do with Pahalgam, and once we say the only way out is an independent, credible, transparent investigation, we have strong reasons, empirical evidence and facts on the basis of which we are saying. Now, see, if you come to the next slide, if you remember that once the National Security Council issued its declaration on 24th April, it clearly said that Indian attempts to inject volatility in the environment along Pakistan's eastern border is aimed at distracting Pakistan's counter-terrorism efforts. And on night 25th, 26th, within 48 to 72 hours, its manifestation was clear. The largest tashkeel of Fitna al-Khawarij terrorists was taken down. 71 were sent to hell. This proxy of the Indians, the largest tashkeel, was launched, and alhamdulillah, the Pakistan security forces and the intelligence agencies, being vigilant, took them down. Because we have credible intelligence that Indians, post-Pahalgam, have tasked all their proxies to undertake terrorist acts everywhere in Pakistan, whether these proxies are operating in Balochistan and along the other parts of Pakistan. One of the clear evidence of these proxies and these cells I presented in detail yesterday. Just to refresh your minds, I am going to request you to listen to just one audio of a serving major of the Indian Army talking with a terrorist whom he is handling inside Pakistan. Please listen to this.
बात आप एकदम दुरुस्त बात बोल रहे हैं, बट हम बच्चे तो हम लोग भी नहीं है
जी
और
जी
पहला काम हो भी नहीं रहा है, ठीक है ना।
ठीक
बलूचिस्तान से लेके लाहौर तक मेरा जो नेट है बैठा हुआ है ना। तो मैं अगर पैसा आपको भेज रहा हूँ, इसलिए नहीं भेज रहा हूँ कि मेरा बंदा कॉम्प्रोमाइज हो जाए। आप कभी डायरेक्ट अपने अकाउंट में पैसा नहीं लेंगे, पहली चीज। ये आपके लिए भी क्या कहते हैं, मैं एक डायरेक्शन दे लेंगे। 10,000 रुपए यहाँ के मैं आपको इसलिए भेज रहा हूँ क्योंकि मुझको पता है कि कितने अमाउंट को डालने से ISI या आपके यहाँ की एजेंसी या आपकी साइबर विंग हो गई, ठीक है ना, या आपका पुलिस डिपार्टमेंट हो गया या एनफोर्समेंट डायरेक्टरेट हो गई आपकी, वो उस चीज को मद्देनजर नहीं लेगी।
समझ गया।
ठीक है ना। जब आप बड़ा ऑपरेशन करेंगे, और मैं लाखों की बात कर रहा हूँ, जब आपको 3-4 लाख रुपए भेजे जाएंगे यहाँ से, तो आप लड़कों में क्या होता है, एक ऑपरेशन करने के बाद वो पागल हो जाते हैं। मैं आप इस तरफ की बात कर रहा हूँ। उनको लगता है जी सामने वाला बंदा पैसा देने के मूड में नहीं है। जी नहीं, सामने वाला बंदा पैसा देगा, बट आपको वो टुकड़े टुकड़े में करके देगा। मेरे लिए बहुत आसान है, मैं भी कमीशन देता हूँ किसी बंदे को देने के लिए, जो वहां पे बैठा हुआ है, जो अपनी रिस्क पे लिए आपको भेज रहा है पैसा, उसको भी तो मैं दूंगा ना भाई। मेरा क्राइम तो है नहीं वो, या घर वाला तो मेरा है नहीं, वो भी मेरा दोस्त ही है, तो मेरा ताना तो मैं दूंगा ही दूंगा ना भाई। उसकी भी तो लेबर लग रही है। मेरे को सेफ रखना है तो मेरे लिए आसानी है कि मैं एक बारी में दे दूं, मेरा काम, मेरे पैसे बच जाएंगे। बट मैं आप लोगों की सेफ्टी को मद्देनजर रखते हुए उसको 2-3-4 हिस्सों में बांट करके आपको देता हूँ। अकाउंट में नहीं, अलग अलग अकाउंट के अंदर। हम फ्यूचर में भी जब आप ऑपरेशन देंगे तो मैं आपको पैसे दूंगा। तो इस तरीके से जब चलेंगे आप पेशेंटली, तो हम लंबा चलेंगे। देखिए, मैं 1-2 दिन के लिए नहीं हूँ यहाँ पे, मैं आने वाले काफी सालों के लिए यहाँ पे हूँ। एक ही ऑपरेशन के साथ आपका मेरा साथ और काम खत्म हो जाएगा। काम ऐसा करें कि आप भी बोले कि हाँ, अभी किसी बंदे।
So what all we are showing you here, that independent, transparent, neutral, credible investigators, if they see this, this is what they need to see. This all is verifiable. This all is there for to see. It can be forensically checked that there is this serving Indian major, and this is few days ago. And if you listen carefully, what is he saying? He is saying we are operating a terror network from Lahore to Balochistan. He is saying we are here for years and we are going to be here for years. He is saying money is no problem. If this small terror cell, that one man cell, he is offering him millions and giving him millions. Just imagine how many billions are they ready and are they paying to Fitna al-Khawarij and the terrorist organizations operating in Balochistan as their proxy. Just imagine that how much money is being paid over there. And is it not a clear, vivid example of what actually terror financing means? This is for the world to see. This is for the world to check. Against all this terrorism that is sponsored and abetted by the Indians in Pakistan, because of it, if you go to the next slide, you will see the figures. Since January 24, Pakistan has suffered 3,700 terror incidents. And you talk to us about your incidents that are happening without any evidence, and you put those incidents blame on Pakistan. There is verifiable evidence that there are 3,700 incidents of terror that are happening over here. We have shown you a few parts of that how is it happening, who is sponsoring them, who is glorifying them, who is abetting them. In these incidents, the people of Pakistan has suffered 3,896 casualties. There are 1,314 shaheeds, civilians, law enforcement. There are 2,582 injured. And against this, your law enforcement, your security forces, intelligence, armed forces are waging 192 operations per day. We have killed more 1,666 terrorists. This is the terrorism that has been abetted and sponsored by India. It's for the whole world to see, they feel it, its effects. And here we must be cognizant that Pakistan is the last bulwark that is standing against this scourge of terrorism, of this creeping, perverted ideology, which is getting its notion of victory somewhere else. And it's the Pakistan, the people of Pakistan, its armed forces, its law enforcement, which is standing as the last bulwark, not only for the sake of Pakistan and its people, but for the sake of the whole global community. Just imagine if this creeping, perverted ideology takes its root in a country of 240 million plus, what sort of disaster consequences it will have for the whole world. And India, for its short-term, myopic objectives, is facilitating this terrorism. It's abetting this perverted, creeping ideology. Why? For its short-term political objectives. So this is important to understand. Now, a few words about the oppression that is going on with the Muslims and in Kashmiris. We're not going to talk about what's been happening for last more than 70 years. I'm just going to show you what's happening since Pahalgam. Please watch this. That how the houses, please run this. That how the houses are being bulldozed, blasted. There are more than 50 houses in Kashmir alone have been bulldozed and blasted on flimsy charges of being affiliated or being part of the Pahalgam. More than 2,000 people have been taken into custody. Thousands are being harassed. I talked earlier that there is a planned and choreographed campaign of Islamist terrorism, but the facts speak differently. This is what some sane people are saying, that the tourists who came in taxis belonging to Muslims, they stayed in hotels owned by Muslims, they ate food cooked by Muslims, they rode ponies owned by Muslims, they did trekking guided by Muslims. When terrorists started their attack, they were covered and protected by Muslims. The first person to die defending was a Muslim, and you heard his brother. Did you not hear his brother? The first person who died protecting those tourists? You kindly next slide pe rahe. And stay on the text, please. So I'm trying to make you understand that what these saner people over there, they are saying they were the first who came to help for Muslims, the pony owners, the riders, the pillowback riders. First aid and rescue was done by Muslims. Ambulances were driven by Muslims. They were treated in hospitals by Muslim doctors and nurses. And everywhere on social media, we see that all Muslims are terrorists. So this is the orchestrated narrative that is being played. Now see this Muslim MLA from Bihar. Please now run this. Who raised his voice against this Muslim discrimination.
বোমা বিস্ফোরিত হৈছিল আৰু 6 বছৰ আগতে পুলৱামাত যিদিনা 300 কেজি আৰডিএক্সৰ বিস্ফোৰণত প্ৰায় 42 জন ভাৰতৰ সিআৰপিএফ জোৱান নিহত হৈছিল। সেইদিনাই মই কৈছিলো যে ইয়াত চৰকাৰৰ ষড়যন্ত্ৰ আছে আৰু ভাৰতবৰ্ষত এটা সাম্প্ৰদায়িক মেৰু বিভাজন কৰি 2019 লোকসভা নিৰ্বাচনত জয়লাভ কৰিবলৈ কেন্দ্ৰীয় চৰকাৰৰ ষড়যন্ত্ৰত পুলওয়ামা বিস্ফোরণ হয়েছে আর সেইদিন আমি কইছিল আর নিরপেক্ষ তদন্ত বিচারিছিল।
Aminul Islam, MLA of the All India United Democratic Front, has been arrested by the Assam Police Crime Branch after his highly controversial and also offensive remarks alleging the involvement of the centre in the recent attack on tourists in Pahalgam. In fact, he also called Pulwama a conspiracy by the Indian government.
So if you speak otherwise, go to jail, even if you are an MLA. And what's happening to the Muslims and Kashmiris? Please run this.
हमने तो काम स्टार्ट कर दिया अपना गांव में। भाई हम काट लगे रे, दो पकड़े गए, दोनों मार काट लगे रे मेरा भाई। भाई जा रे भाई। भाई साहब
2 कटुए मारे गए, छत्तीस गोरक्षा दल इसकी जिम्मेदारी लेता है और भारत माता की सौगंध 26 का बदला अगर 2600 से ना लिया तो मैं भारत माता का पुत्र नहीं। जय श्री राम, जय हिंद राष्ट्र।
Just see dogs and Muslims not allowed. Where did you see this?
राय मंदिर पे काम जो कर रहे हो तुम, अभी जो पहलगाम में आतंकी हमला हुआ है उसमें हिंदुओं को देख देख के मारा गया है, पहचान करके। इसीलिए हम तुमसे इस काम से तुम्हें हटा रहे हैं। हम काम नहीं करा रहे हैं, हम तो मंदिर पे तुम्हें इसीलिए तुम्हारा बहिष्कार कर रहे हैं कि तुम लोग जो है पूरा इस्लाम जो है हमारे हिंदू सनातन को टारगेट बना रहा है और हिंदुओं को देख देख के मार रहा है।
And I just said earlier also that terrorism has no religion. There are no Muslim terrorists, there are no Christian terrorists, there are no even Hindu terrorists. So why an effort is being made to label the whole community, the Muslims, as terrorists? Is this part of some agenda? Is this part of that hate that systematically is being put in a society? That saffronization that is trying to be done, whose manifestation you saw that the Muslims and dogs not allowed, and where did we see that the world conscious and the world memory remembers those posters, and also that what ensued after that, the genocide and the suffering that ensued after that. So the irrationality that you see playing and the rational minds grapple to understand, it stems from somewhere perhaps over here. Lastly, those who are trying to tell within the India that there is something wrong, that something is amiss, what's happening there? Please listen to this. This is 24th April, a Kashmiri journalist.
पहलगाम तक जाते जाते मुझे 10 चेक पॉइंट्स पे रोका जाता है, मच्छी साथ नहीं ले सकता मैं। ये बंदे आए कहां से? डोंट आस्क कश्मीरीज ऑन दिस, आस्क द सिक्योरिटी एजेंसीज। कितनी कंपनीज है यहाँ, आरआर है, एसएसबी है, सीआरपीएफ है, आर्मी है, बीएसएफ है, वो क्या जग मार रहे थे सर? गवर्नमेंट क्या कर रही थी? मैं उससे सवाल कर रहा हूँ आप सब लोगों के माध्यम से कि क्या कर रहा था गवर्नमेंट? होम मिनिस्टर साहब यहाँ आए, होम मिनिस्टर साहब मैं आपसे सवाल कर रहा हूँ ये क्यों हुआ?
And what happened next day to this gentleman, this journalist? He is being forced in and nobody knows where he is now. Now see in next last clip that what's happening once you say your and put your voices on social media.
अपहरण कांड 1999,
This is a social media influencer.
1999, संसद पर आतंकी हमला 2001, अक्षरधाम मंदिर पर आतंकी हमला 2002, अमरनाथ यात्रियों पर आतंकी हमला 2002 और 2017, गोधरा कांड
2002, पठानकोट आतंकी हमला 2016, उरी आतंकी हमला 2016, पुलवामा आतंकी हमला 2019, पहलगाम आतंकी हमला 2025। पहलगाम हमले के जवाब में अब तक सरकार ने किया क्या है? मेरे ऊपर FIR, लोकतंत्र में आलोचना तो होगी, सवाल भी पूछे जाएंगे।
So, she is just pointing out common facts that all these incidents are happening in once the BJP government is in power. She is trying to just connect the dots, and there you go, and the big law, hand of the law comes. And what they are trying to do for the voices that are coming from outside the world, if you go to the next slide, what's happening outside? They have blocked all digital YouTube, digital news channels of Pakistan, so that the voice of Pakistan of fact and reason, explaining what's happening, what are the actual facts, doesn't go to its citizens. They are blocking all websites, X handles, other handles who are talking about facts. This is what's right now happening on hourly basis. Why they are stifling it? Because they are afraid of truth. They don't want to face the reality. Lastly, I would just say that this tells us something very important, that what the Indians are trying to do is that there is a process of internalization of their external problems and externalization of their internal problems. Kashmir is an external problem, and they are internalizing it. Terrorism, extremism is an internal problem of India. Instead of handling it, instead of addressing it, they are externalizing it. This cycle is manifesting itself also in this Pahalgam incident. Thank you very much.
We'll open the floor for questions. You moderate, Sir, with your permission.
Yeah, please.
The floor is open. Ms. Mona.
Mona Khan from Independent Urdu. My question is from DG ISPR. Sir, what response and options are available to Pakistan in wake of your yesterday press briefing?
Please.
We are monitoring the situation very carefully in all domains. And accordingly, our responses and countermeasures in all domains are ready. And as you must have seen in the declaration of the National Security Council, the statement of the government of Pakistan that came last night also, that there will be decisive and assured actions. I will not go into the details, but rest assured, the people of Pakistan, with its full resolve, will defend the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Pakistan at all cost.
I'll just add to what Lieutenant General Sharif said, that Pakistan will exercise restraint for the purpose of regional peace, but, and that is very clear, if provoked, and any action from the other side will be responded in a emphatic manner and in a stronger way. Thank you. Aga Ikrar sir.
Sir, my question, thank you so much, Aga Ikrar from DND News Agency. My question is to DG ISPR. Sir, yesterday and even today, you have with the facts and figures and with audios, you shared how Indian Army, not the intelligence agency, the Indian Army is involved in cross-border terrorism in Pakistan. What next now? For how long Pakistan would face this situation when the Indian Army is directly involved, paying people with the documentation? You have shared everything. So what would be next now?
Well, the nation is united. The resolve of the leadership is in front of you. National Security Committee press release, we covered every point. We discussed in totality. And I must compliment all political parties who represent in the Federation, federating units, all federating units in the Senate of Pakistan, which is a symbol of federation. There was the unanimous resolution, including, I'm repeating, all political parties. And I think the message was loud and clear that in terms of our sovereignty, or in, territorial integrity, there is no compromise. And we are one, united, and with clear resolve that if anything, any provocation takes place, then, don't blame us. And this is the message we have given while, communicating with world leaders in the last few days. Thank you.
And Ms. Sumera, just to add with reference to the evidence that you talked, this evidence is credible, it is verifiable for any transparent, independent inquiry by any investigators. And Pakistan will take up this case, is taking up and will continue to take up this case of this state-sponsored and abetted terrorism with all forums, including the international community.
Thank you very much, spokesperson. This is Sumaira Khan from Sama Television. Sir, I have a two-pronged question. One is from the respected DG and the other is posing at Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister. DG, if we talk about kinetic measures, we are right now engaged significantly eastern border and western border as well. So the terrorist might be thinking, terrorist who's operating right now significantly from across the border, if you talk about Afghanistan, I'm forced to name this country as well right now. So what is our situation? Are we stretching our army at two borders? What's our strategy to deal with this two-prong kinetic strategy? And Foreign Minister, I'm seeing you discussing the entire situation with a lot of world leaders, and you have been day in, day out, you are speaking to them. But to my shock and wonder, I did not see any statement from any country that is condemning that India is not presenting substantial evidence of Pahalgam attack. And yes, they are offering their condolences to the victims, we do, but where is the demand for evidence from India, and what forums exactly we are seeking to put up this question? And as DG has highlighted, that state-sponsored terrorism from India, what exactly we are going to do about it? Thank you so much.
I'll answer the second half.
Pakistan Army and Pakistan Armed Forces and law enforcement, we are a battle-hardened army. So, it may be a ploy, it may be a tactic, it may be a desire, a strategy for them to engage militarily on the eastern front so as to create space along the western border. But Pakistan Armed Forces, its law enforcement, intelligence, security agencies are fully capable of taking all these threats simultaneously with full force and effectivity. And its manifestation you just have seen in the last few days. As I told you that we have credible intelligence and that all the proxies of terror have been activated. But the security of the people is being done. The terrorists are being hunted and being taken down. So we are vigilant, we are watching everywhere. And I said earlier that we are watching their moves and what they are doing and their plans in all domains. So whether they are in the domain of counter-terrorism, non-kinetic, information operations, other domains, air, ground, sea, everywhere, and appropriate countermeasures are being taken, are in place. And there will be defeating and decisive responses.
The second question, you see the reaction of the diplomatic world is always incident specific. The incident is Pahalgam. So that would be out of context what you expect, that while they are not condemning India, obviously they are condemning the terrorism, everybody, but I don't know whether you have seen the Chinese statement, whether you have seen the Tayyip Erdogan, the president of Turkey statement, and I explained earlier that most of the global leaders, they were very, very candid and requested to exercise restraint, and that's why we have announced that we will not be the first one to take any escalatory move. So, the policy of the government, is absolutely clear, and that's what we are following. So surely this will be inappropriate, I think, at this stage. They haven't seen all this evidence, number one. The discussion right now is focused on an incident. So, it will be out of context if somebody goes out of the way and starts condemning why you're not dealing with all these things. So this is for your education to sharing with the media, with the nation, with the international community, that's what Jan Saab and spokesperson have tried to just run you through. Thank you. Khalid sir.
खालिद महमूद जी एक्सप्रेस टीवी से। जनरल साहब, एक टेक्निकल सा सवाल है कि जो दोनों मुमालिक के दरमियान साइबर और इलेक्ट्रॉनिक वारफेयर में जो कंपैरिजन है, पाकिस्तान वहाँ पे कहाँ खड़ा है? और दूसरा मेरा सवाल है डिप्टी प्राइम मिनिस्टर साहब से कि इंडियन मीडिया जो है वो अभी से जो लास्ट ऑप्शन है उसको इस्तेमाल करने की बातें कर रहा है। क्या ऐसा कोई मुमकिन है या ऐसा कोई खदशा जाहिर किया जा रहा है कि पाकिस्तान भी वो लास्ट ऑप्शन इस्तेमाल कर सकता है?
Let me, before General Saab adds on, as for the warfare comparison is concerned, I think the conventional warfare comparison is over on 28th of May 1998. You are a nuclear power, and so is India. Again, at that time, we were not the first one. They, exploded 5 devices. There was a lot of, offers from the world leaders, including President Clinton and many others. And Pakistan leadership, Mr. Muhammad Nawaz Sharif was the Prime Minister of Pakistan. We accompanied on 28th of May in NDC, where General Jagir Kramal gave a briefing. What you asked, comparative warfare. So the decision was we have to go and respond to represent the sentiments of the nation as well. So number one, so you are a nuclear power and you are recognized as a missile power as well. So no worries at all. Warfare is very much there, but when you say last option, if you are referring to the nuclear option, so obviously there is a national command authority in place in Pakistan, like all the countries who are nuclear, and it is their domain that in such eventuality that national command authority would meet, where again Prime Minister and the leadership of Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif, the both civil and military leadership who are the members of that command authority under the law of the land, they will sit and decide. Ji, ma'am, want to add something?
On these particular domains that in which the comparison, I think this is not the forum to discuss that in cyber domain, electronic warfare domain, in the firepower domain, in the information domain, in the other domains, we start doing a comparison of 2-3 countries and powers at this time. I think this is not the forum right now. I gave you an overarching response that we are watching them very carefully in all the domains, and all the appropriate measures are in place. The response, as the Honorable Deputy Prime Minister said, will be befitting, it will be decisive and assured.
नौरीन सुनो न्यूज़ से मेरे इसहाक डार साहब से 2 क्वेश्चंस हैं। सर, पहले तो ये कि गुज़िश्ता रोज़ DG ISPR की जानिब से ब्रीफिंग में बड़े वाज़े शवाहिद पेश किए गए जो ये साबित करते हैं कि किस तरह से इंडिया क्रॉस बॉर्डर टेररिज्म में मुलविस है। तो क्या पाकिस्तान मुख्तलिफ सफारतकारों को बुलाकर और बिलखसूस अक़वाम मुत्तहिदा की सतह पर कोई डोजियर देने की तैयारी कर रहा है? और सेकेंडली ये सर कि क्या अभी तक अमेरिका, चीन या किसी भी दोस्त मुल्क की जानिब से दोनों ममालिक के दरमियान तनाव की जो हालिया कैफियत है इसको कम करने के लिए कोई पेशकश की गई है? थैंक यू।
जहाँ तक डोजेस का सवाल है, एज आई सेड दैट वी आर एक्टिवली इन्वॉल्व विद द डिप्लोमेटिक कम्युनिटी. दे वर गिवन ब्रीफिंग इन मोफा बाय द फॉरेन सेक्रेटरी टू बिगिन विद, who were present in Islamabad. We are actively engaged with different high commissioners, ambassadors, chargé d'affaires. Even today, US chargé d'affaires called on me. So we are actively engaged on this thing 24/7. Number 2, the वाज़े शवाहिद जो आपने बात की देखें, let me remind you, all this thing what you have seen, if I can quote Madeleine Albright book, the introductory remarks were by President Clinton. Now, what did he say? And it's not a recent episode, it's decades old. In that book, it is written that quoting President Clinton, he said he had the intel information that if he goes to India, there will be around 36 will be killed, murdered. And he responded that if I had gone, I had taken that information and not gone, then perhaps these 6 could have survived. But if I had not gone, I would not have discharged my responsibility as PUTUS, President of the United States of America. So it's not me who's saying, it's Madeleine Albright book. The person she's quoting has written the introductory remarks in that book. So this is, you see, and the actions are totally, unacceptable. Even in 1971 war, Indus Water Treaty was kept in place and was followed. Never before, since this 23rd announcement, never before. And there is no provision or possibility in the international legal dictionary the word abeyance in any treaty. So they can suspend it, but there is no provision of suspension. Thank you. Mateen sir.
جی تھینک یو سو مچ ڈی جی متین حیدر ڈی جی ISPR سے سوال ہے. آج ہمیں آپ کی طرف سے اپڈیٹس مسلسل مل رہے ہیں اور ایک اپڈیٹ یہ ہے کہ پاک فوج نے اپنی جو ریگولر مشقیں وہ شروع کر دی ہے. ایئر فورس نے آلریڈی شروع کی ہوئی ہے. رات کے ہمیں وزیر اطلاعات کا بھی اسٹیٹمنٹ ملا جس میں یہ کہا گیا کہ اگلے 36 گھنٹے بھارت کی جانب سے حملے کے لیے انتہائی اہم ہیں. آپ سے اسپیسیفکلی یہ پوچھنا ہے کہ کتنا بڑا خطرہ ہے, ہماری کون سی جگہیں پاکستان میں, کیا لائن آف کنٹرول, آزاد کشمیر, بھاولپور, کن جگہوں پہ خطرہ زیادہ ہے, اور اس خطرے سے نمٹنے کے لیے ہماری تیاری ان علاقوں میں کتنی ہے. چونکہ ایکسرسائز کا کلپ ہمیں آ چکا ہے. اور ڈپٹی PM FM سے سوال ہے, ہمارا جو ڈپلومیٹک سٹاف نیو دلی سے آ رہا تھا ان کے ساتھ واگا بارڈر کے اوپر بہت بدسلوکی کی جا رہی ہے. ایک نوٹ بھی ہمیں فارن آفس کے گروپ میں اس حوالے سے ملا. تو یہ بتائیے, یہ بھی انٹرنیشنل لا ویانا کنونشن کی خلاف ورزی ہے جو ڈپلومیٹک سٹاف آ رہا ہے. ہم نے ان کے سٹاف کو بڑے احترام سے بھجوایا لیکن ہمارے سٹاف کے ساتھ بدسلوکی کی جا رہی ہے. تو بس یہ 2 سوال ہیں. بہت شکریہ.
کیا کر رہی ہے یہ, میں نے جو اسپوکس پرسن ہے ان کو کویسچن چھوڑا ہوا ہے, اس کے اوپر رسپونڈ بھی نہیں کر رہی منسٹری.
میرا خیال 3 ہو گیا, پھر آپ نیا سوال کر لیں. جہاں تک 24 سے 36 گھنٹے کا سوال ہے, یہ اٹ واز بیسڈ آن کریڈیبل انٹل انفارمیشن. سو وی تھاٹ دیٹ اٹ وڈ بی اپروپریٹ لیٹ نائٹ اٹ شوڈ میڈ پبلک, اینڈ دیٹس وائی دی انفارمیشن منسٹر گیو دی اسٹیٹمنٹ. اٹ واز ان دی نالج آف دی انٹائر لیڈرشپ, بوتھ سول اینڈ ملٹری. نمبر 2, بدسلوکی جہاں تک آپ نے فرمایا, obviously this is very undiplomatic, unwarranted, unacceptable. So we will raise it at all proper forums, including the United Nations, because this is not on. Because we believe that respect dignity of the diplomats, no matter in which country they belong to and where they are moving to and from, we will take care of that. جہاں تک پاکستان کے پھنسوں کے تعلق ہے, our High Commission in New Delhi is working on that, and we will coordinate. You see, it's something which the data is being collected, but obviously, since there were 48 hours for them to leave and for us to leave, because both actions were taken. So I think we are taking care of this thing. The spokesperson will give you next regular briefing with the more detail.
Exactly. آپ نے ایک ایکسرسائز کا ریفر کیا. دس از جسٹ ون پارٹ دیٹ واز شیئرڈ ود یو. ریسٹ ایشورڈ کہ آپ کی چاہے فوج ہے, چاہے فضائیہ ہے, چاہے نیوی ہے, چاہے باقی تمام دفاع سے تعلق رکھنے والے ادارے ہیں, وہ ہمہ وقت ہر وقت اپنی تیاری میں مصروف ہیں. سو وی آر ایوری ویئر آل دا ٹائم. وی آر ریڈی اینڈ وی آر پریپیئرڈ to take on all sort of challenges. Military confrontation کا راستہ اگر انہوں نے چننا ہے تو یہ ان کی چوائس ہے. آگے یہ کدھر جاتا ہے یہ پھر ہماری چوائس ہے.
जी, मेरा नाम एजाज़ अहमद है, मैं JNN से हूँ। डॉक्टर साहब, एक तो आपसे सवाल है और जनरल साहब आपसे सवाल है। जनरल साहब से पहले पूछ लेते हैं कि एक तो ये जो एक्सरसाइज का मतीन ने तस्करा किया, लेकिन इसके साथ साथ बहुत सारे वीडियोज़ भी आ जाती हैं कि ये हो गया, वो हो गया, इतनी मोर्चे गिरा दिए, इतने जहाज़ गिरा दिए। हमें थोड़ा सा स्पेसिफिक इस हवाले से भी आप बता सकें कि एक्चुअली लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल पर और वर्किंग बाउंड्री पर क्या सूरत हाल है। फिर इंडियन मीडिया बहुत बुलंद बांग दावे करता है कि हमारे पास रफ़ाइल आ गए हैं, पाकिस्तान के पास इसका तोड़ नहीं है। तो हमारे पास तोड़ क्या है उसका? और डॉक्टर साहब, आपसे सवाल ये है कि आज ही अमेरिकी तर्जुमान ने ये कहा है कि मार्को रूबियो जो है US सेक्रेटरी ऑफ स्टेट, वो आपसे और इंडियन काउंटर पार्ट से बात करेंगे। इंडिया ने एक ये मजाक बनाया हुआ है कि हर कुछ साल के बाद वो एक फॉल्स फ्लैग करता है और फिर पाकिस्तान पर इल्ज़ाम शुरू कर देता है। हमारी प्री कंडीशंस क्या होंगी और क्या मीडिएशन पॉसिबल है मौजूदा सूरत हाल में?
नहीं, ज़रा एक सेकंड, ऑलरेडी उनके 4 सवाल हैं एक ही में, सो मेरा पहले हैंडल कर रहे थे, अभी करते हैं, अभी आपके पास, विल कम टू यू।
अगर आप कमेंट कर दें, इज देयर एनी अपडेट ऑन द करंट सिचुएशन?
देखें, वी हैव ए नंबर ऑफ टेलीफोन कॉल्स रिक्वेस्ट हमने भी भेजी हुई हैं, हमारे पास भी है, वी आर मैनेजिंग इट एज पर मैक्सिमम पोटेंशियल। लेकिन ये जो आपने सेक्रेटरी रूबियो की बात की, उन्होंने चूँकि मेरा शायद एक ट्रैवल था जो मैंने पोस्टपोन किया, यू ऑल नो, काबुल के बाद मैंने ढाका जाना था, तो उन्होंने रिक्वेस्ट मुझे भी भेजी हुई है और गालबन प्राइम मिनिस्टर हाउस भी आई है। तो whosoever is available will talk to him when he calls. Obviously foreign office as per the standard practice will tie up the time. जहाँ तक फॉल्स फ्लैग है, हमने तो इसको अपनी इवन पहलगाम पे सीरियस रिजर्वेशन फ्लैग कर दी हैं। पहले आपने सब कुछ देखा है जो जनरल शरीफ ने आपको दिखाया है। दिस एब्सोल्युटली क्रिस्टल क्लियर दैट वी डू नॉट बिलीव कि ये है, लेकिन इसके बावजूद वी हैव ऑफर्ड, ओके फाइन, इफ हुआ है, यू से दैट इट्स हुआ है, तो प्लीज़ give the evidence to the neutral independent investigators. What is the problem about not having a probe? So अगर probe होगी तो only then we would know कि where do we stand. तो ये false flag जो है, ये एक इनका ड्रामेटिक किस्म का ये इनका प्लान है। पुलवामा देख लें, मैंने भी आपको मेडलिन ऑलब्राइट की किताब प्रेसिडेंट क्लिंटन के विजिट का बताया। I was present 2nd of December 1998 when after the detonation in Oval Office with Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. And we have dialogue, Madeleine Albright, Sandy Berger, Rubin Talbot, they were all there. I, Sartaj Aziz Saab, apna Mushahid Hussain Sayyid, Shawaz Sharif Saab and Riaz Khokar were there. So you see, but these are the things one cannot divulge. These are national history and archives, and they are there where it should be. So let me assure you, we know that there is false flag and how it is to be dealt with. So we have raised our reservations, offered independently. So I think gradually the international community, the way they drummed up false propaganda in the first 48 hours has died down already. You have seen that the Indians khud wo sawal wahi pooch rahe hain or they are questioning many things. So this is how their narrative has virtually gone for the six, and their propaganda has fallen. So हम अभी भी हमारी जो ऑफर है वो है, जहाँ तक आपने ममालिक की जिक्र किया, मीडिएशन की बात की, देखिए मीडिएशन नहीं, इन्वेस्टिगेशन की ज़रूरत है, मीडिएशन तो कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है. So our friends have offered and they must be trying. The need of the hour is, because both countries being nuclear, need of the hour is any escalatory move can go to a direction which would be unsustainable, not between the two countries, maybe for the entire region. So it is a combined responsibility of friends and the regional actors to make sure that India doesn't make this mistake. But as General Sharif has said, on behalf of armed forces, they are alert, they are ready, and they are inshallah in a position to give a befitting response of the nature, and we will choose time and mode of our liking. Thank you.
I'll just add to that आपने कहा information आती है कि जहाज ही हो गया, मुख्तलिफ तरह information. अगर तो आप अपनी information social media से ले रहे हैं तो आपको बहुत तरह की information मिलेगी. So I would request that please only refer to the credible sources of information. Especially ये जो circumstances चल रहे हैं इसके अंदर, the social media, the accounts, they are not a credible source of information. वहाँ से आपको बहुत कुछ मिलेगा. अपने दावे की बात की, वो दावा कहते हैं कि जी हमारा राफेल और ये वो, तो उनके दावे तो पहलगाम पे भी हैं, उनके दावे तो बहुत सी चीज़ों पे हैं. उनके अगर हम उनके दावों पे चलना शुरू हो जाएं तो then the world will look entirely different. And lastly, जो आपने DGMO की टॉक की बात की, there is a long standing arrangement of routine होती है, DGMO एक hotline established है और वो हर ट्यूसडे को उसके ऊपर एक बातचीत होती है. इसके अंदर जो सा है दोनों साइड्स की प्रोटोकॉल यही है कि वो इस बातचीत को, इस कॉन्टैक्ट को पब्लिक नहीं करते. We don't know that for what reason the Indians thought it's necessary कि उन्होंने आके इसको पब्लिक करना है. Perhaps they felt, जिस तरह उन्होंने कहा कि in the narrative, in the information domain, they have nothing to tell, तो they thought it's कि जी इसको अपनी पब्लिक को बताया जाए कि हमने वहाँ पे ceasefire violations की बात की है और हमने ये बात की है. तो this is not something that is talked in public. So this is an arrangement, long standing, between the two countries.
जी सदीक साजिद जी, एक न्यूज़ है. डॉक्टर साहब, अभी आपने हाल ही में काबुल का विज़िट किया और उसके फौरी बाद ये 71 जो डीजी साहब ने बताया कि टेररिस्ट अफ़गानिस्तान से पाकिस्तान दाखिल होने की कोशिश कर रहे थे, प्रॉक्सीज़ की बात की, तो क्या आपकी उनके साथ इस हवाले से जो बात हुई उसका नतीजा इस सूरत में निकला कि
शुरू में क्या कहा आपने?
काबुल
विजिट किया. जी 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 जी
वो तो फिर वही जारी, बल्कि सबसे बड़ी तश्कील जो है वो पाकिस्तान की सरजमीन पे आई. दूसरा डीजी साहब, आपसे एक सवाल है कि इंडियन जो प्राइम मिनिस्टर हैं, मुसलसल नेशनल सिक्योरिटी कमेटी मीटिंग, कैबिनेट मीटिंग, और उनका इंडियन मीडिया ये कह रहा है कि जो प्राइम मिनिस्टर हैं उन्होंने अपनी फ़ौज को ग्रीन सिग्नल दे दिया है पाकिस्तान के ऊपर हमले का, और ये कहा गया कि वो अपनी मर्ज़ी से जगह का तयन कर लें, मकाम का तयन कर लें, टारगेट का तयन कर लें. तो हमारी तरफ से जो आपका इसका रिस्पॉन्स क्या होगा?
मैं काबुल का जवाब आपको पहले दे देता हूँ. देखिए, डोंट मिक्स टू थिंग्स टुगेदर. यू कैन नॉट चेंज योर नेबर्स एंड यू हैव टू डील विद देम. दिस इज़ नो सोल्यूशन कि अगर हमें पता है कि उनकी सरजमीन माजी में इस्तेमाल हुई है तो हम अपने तल्लुकात को बंद कर दें. इट इज़ नॉट नाइदर गुड फॉर इकोनॉमी, नॉट ट्रेड, नॉर इवन इस्लामिकली इट्स नॉट अलाउड. So the government and the stakeholder decided that we should re-engage Afghanistan. So I visited Afghanistan. The visit was absolutely marvelous, both from political point of view, from economic and trade point of view, from refugees point of view. And also, वो नहीं करते चॉइस साहब, जनरली प्रेस टेक आउट नहीं करते, वो प्रेस रिलीज़ नहीं होती. इट इज़ अनयूजुअल एंड एक्स्ट्राऑर्डिनरी अरेंजमेंट कि उन्होंने मेरे साथ खड़े होके, हमारे काउंटर पार्ट ने, वी शुड अप्रिशिएट. बजाय ये कि अगर हम ऐसी चीज़ों पे क्रिटिकल होंगे तो जो उसका पॉजिटिविटी है वो इंडिया तो भेजेगा उनको. देखे आपने तो बड़ा, प्राइम मिनिस्टर साहब से मेरी मीटिंग हुई, मुझे बताया गया वो बहुत थोड़ी मीटिंग करते हैं. इट वाज एलेबोरेट मीटिंग विद प्राइम मिनिस्टर खुद. उसके बाद DPM से मीटिंग हुई, उनकी पूरी कैबिनेट के जितने मेन विंग्स थे वो सारे थे, और फिर मुत्तकी साहब से मीटिंग हुई. तो मैं तो उसको बहुत अप्रिशिएट करता हूँ. हमें देखिए, हमने रहना है एक दूसरे के साथ, और हमारी जो बेहतरी है उनके लिए बेहतरी है, और उनकी जो बेहतरी हमारे लिए बेहतरी है. सो गवर्नमेंट एंड द स्टेक होल्डर्स दे डिसाइडेड कि वी शुड री एंगेज, और उसके नतीजे में मैं गया और द विजिट वॉज एब्सोल्युटली फाइन. और मैंने यहाँ आके आपको नहीं बताया कि वहाँ मैं क्या कह रहा हूँ. मेरे बाएँ हाथ मुत्तकी साहब खड़े थे और मैं हर चीज़ जो कुछ हमने अनाउंस किया, जो कुछ एग्री किया, मैंने ट्रांसपेरेंटली कौम को और दुनिया को बता दिया, और उन्होंने भी उसको उसी पैराए में लिया, उसी तरह रिस्पॉन्ड किया. तो पहले अगर हम काबुल को इसमें ड्रैग इन करेंगे, आई थिंक इट विल नॉट बी फेयर. सो इट इज़ नॉट इन नेशनल इंटरेस्ट.
देखिए, वी आर नॉट कंसर्न कि वो क्या कह रहे हैं, वो उनकी अपनी कंजम्पशन के लिए जो कह रहे हैं. हम आपको बार बार ये बता रहे हैं, हम पहले भी कम्युनिकेट करते रहे हैं कि हम तैयार हैं, आजमाना नहीं. 2019 में भी हमने ये बताया था कि वी आर रेडी. वी आर नॉट द वन हु आर गोइंग टू इनिशिएट एनी एग्रेशन. वी आर ए वेरी रिस्पॉन्सिबल स्टेट एंड विल ऑलवेज फॉलो द पाथ ऑफ रीजन एंड कंस्ट्रक्टिव एंगेजमेंट. बट इफ दे थिंक दैट एग्रेशन इज द पाथ फॉरवर्ड, तो आवर मैसेज इज ओनली दिस: we are ready. Don't test it.
Thank you, sir. Jiang Chao, Xinhua News Agency. We have seen that in the past days, Deputy Prime Minister and the Foreign Minister held a phone call with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi. And according to a release from Chinese Foreign Ministry, China reaffirmed its support to Pakistan on counterterrorism and safeguarding its national interests and national authority and territory, and also support to carry out investigation on the incident in program in a fair and an objective way. So my question first to DG ISPR that one thing when in your presentation about the Chinese national who are being attacked on October the 6th, 2024, that a account on social media to show indicating that this account knows the attack ahead of the thing happen. So have you ever traced the background of this account, who are behind it? And are you planning to present these evidence after the investigation to your Chinese counterparts? This is my first question to DG ISPR. So second question, that we have already seen yesterday that the Indian authority has, especially its leadership, has released a lot of signal on solving the issue by forces. Well, we have seen Pakistan has carried out a lot of intensive diplomatic activity with neighboring countries and major countries in the past days. Has Pakistan have planned to propose a resolution or propose a case in the UNDC to seeking for pass a resolution to limit both sides or India side to carry out the war to solve the issue? This is my second question to Deputy Prime Minister. Thank you.
Well, I had detailed telephone call, long telephone call with His Excellency, the Chinese Foreign Minister on Sunday afternoon. He was traveling, he was at that time, I sent him a message, he was in Central Asian states traveling to Brazil for BRICS meeting. We were very clear, and I am grateful that he supported. I explained to him. He was obviously up to date. So he supported our stance and offer of the independent investigation. He says a very good offer, and he emphasized that it should be accepted and independent investigation should take place. The second, advice, as we are ironclad friends and brothers, was that we must try and exercise restraint in the interest of the regional peace and security. So I assured him that, as I have told even in the Senate of Pakistan, I have also said it publicly, we will not be the first one to take any escalating move. But he obviously fully agreed. So his advice was that we should avoid any escalating move and exercise restraint, which we have the policy by the civil and military leadership have already decided that we will not do the first move. So rest I have already clarified. Your question about the Pakistan plan resolution in the UN Security Council, we will consult. As you know that right now we are moving diplomatic way. Obviously I had to cancel my visit to Dhaka under the circumstances, which is scheduled for 28th, 29th. So we are taking care of everything. So if the leadership would decide for moving a resolution, we will look into that. The resolutions in UN Security Council sometime get shooted down by the P5. They have the veto power. So we are one of the 10 non-permanent elected members. So there's a different debate we can discuss sometime, the reforms in the UN Security Council and the multilateral system, which is weakening very rapidly. So it's not the time. But we will obviously, through consultative measures, because we don't want to, present a resolution and it just doesn't get through. Because you have just seen the press statement filed by US, United Joint States of America. It took 2 days because we had serious reservations on 2 points, and we got it fixed. We got Jammu and Kashmir included. We got TRF, removed. And after that, it was interesting that within the next 48 hours, TRF actually disclaimed that we have nothing to do with this thing. So thanks God, our argument has been proven, and the position what we took stands vindicated. Thank you.
On the question of the X account, first I would like to say that we are extremely, it is a great tragedy, the loss of the valuable lives of our Chinese friends who were victim of externally sponsored and abetted terrorism. As you saw that, as you highlighted the X account that you referred, a forensic of that account tells a lot about that, from where it's being operated, which agencies. So it has clear linkage with India. As I highlighted, that it was activity on Pahalgam incident, amongst the first one to come and start pointing fingers from these accounts on Pakistan, on Islamist terrorism. Beforehand, claims on Mianwali airbase attack. Beforehand, claims of an attack that something is going to happen in Karachi. Immediate reporting of that unfortunate incident. And then amongst the first one to say, while we were not sure that who these foreigners were, that the Chinese were victim of that incident. So the forensics is there for all to say. Of course, Pakistan and China share a very organized and institutionalized method of information sharing in the domains of these investigations. So all the relevant information, investigations are shared with the friends.
जी सर, मैं सैयद ज़फ़र हुसैन मेरा नाम है सर, दुनिया न्यूज़ से मेरा ताल्लुक़ है। मेरा सवाल जनाब डिप्टी प्राइम मिनिस्टर साहब से है। सर, आप पॉलिटिशियन हैं, एक पॉलिटिकल क्वेश्चन भी हो जाए। सर, गुज़िश्ता 1-1.5 हफ्ते से सारी सिचुएशन चल रही है। मैं आपसे ये पूछना चाहूँगा कि हमारे प्राइम मिनिस्टर मियाँ शहबाज शरीफ साहब कहाँ हैं? वो कहीं हमें फ्रंट पे नज़र नहीं आ रहे। वो कौम के लीडर हैं, वज़ीर आज़म हैं, क्या उन्हें नहीं चाहिए कि वो फ्रंट पे आके फ्रंट से कौम को लीड करें, कौम को इत्मीनान मिलें और कोई कौम से खिताब कर लें, बताया जाए कि क्या हो रहा है, क्या हुकूमत करना चाह रही है सारी सिचुएशन को डील करने के लिए। एक मुल्क से ये जंग का मामला है, कोई छोटा इशू नहीं है। फिर आपने ये कहा कि करारदाद सेनेट ने पास कर ली है, ये कौम की आवाज़ है। मैं ये पूछना चाहूँगा, क्या 15-20 सेनेटर्स की मौजूदगी में करारदाद की मंजूरी को कौम की आवाज़ करार दिया जा सकता है? आपका मुंतखब ऐवान के तमाम सियासी जमातों को बुलाकर इस मामले पर उन्हें इत्मीनान में क्यों नहीं दिया जाता? कौम के अंदर एक जज्बा पैदा करने की कोशिश क्यों नहीं की जाती? ये नहीं बताया जाता कि कौम इस मसले पर
Political statement well taken. Let me answer. देखें भाई, जहाँ तक प्राइम मिनिस्टर का ताल्लुक है, आई फेल टू अंडरस्टैंड, या तो शायद आपको मौका नहीं मिला। स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम राइट आफ्टर अराइवल फ्रॉम Ankara in Islamabad, 23rd evening, we have been in touch throughout, and very next morning, National Security Committee of Pakistan meets. His statement after that, the National Security Committee's press release, and after that series of interactions by Prime Minister. I'm amazed कि आपको ये भी नहीं पता, तो बड़ा हैरानगी की बात है। या तो आपको मौका नहीं मिला, या आप कहीं और इंडियन चैनल्स ही देखते रहे हैं इस दौरान। दूसरा जो तो इसलिए गायब को तो he is leading from the front. I mean, frankly, we are all, the military and the civil leadership under his chairmanship has been working day and night. एंड आपने देखा कि हम लगे हुए हैं, एंड आई थिंक वी ट्राई फ्रॉम मोफा टू कीप गिविंग ए लिटिल पीस ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन अबाउट ईच मूवमेंट वी डू। दूसरी जो आपने फरमाया कि 15-20 महले, अगेन आपकी मैं चूँकि अकाउंटेंट हूँ, आप शायद नॉन अकाउंटेंट हैं, ये 15-20 तो मुझे नज़र नहीं है, तो बहुत ज़्यादा बड़ी तादाद थी। कम अज़ कम तमाम पार्टीज़ के तमाम जो पार्लिमानी लीडर्स हैं, इफ़ यू रिकॉल, अगर आप मौजूद थे तो हमारी 2 घंटे मीटिंग हुई। हमने 24 की रात को ही एक ड्राफ्ट, तो इसे स्टैंडर्ड ये प्रैक्टिस है कि ये फॉरेन ऑफिस का काम होता है, हमने एक ड्राफ्ट रेजोल्यूशन बना के वो 11 बजे रात को दे दी। मैं चूँकि आपने सवाल किया तो मैं इसी तफसील शेयर कर रहा हूँ, तमाम को दे दी। अगले दिन सेनेट इजलास से 1 घंटा पहले मीटिंग हुई हमारी और मैं ख़ुद उसमें हाज़िर हुआ, और उसमें हमने खुले दिल के साथ जो किसी ने वैल्यू एडिशन प्रपोज की वी टुक इट। और आपने देखा कि तमाम पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज़, यू नेम जो उधर नहीं थे, तमाम पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज़ और कहाँ बैठे, लीडर ऑफ द अपोजिशन के कमरे जहाँ मैं कभी होता था, अभी मैं लीडर ऑफ द हाउस में बैठता हूँ, तो हम वहाँ बैठे जहाँ शिबली फराज साहब का ऑफिशियल चैम्बर है। तमाम ये कोई ईगो का मसला नहीं है, ये मुल्क का मसला है, ये एक नेशनल इशू थी। मैं बड़ी खुशी के साथ मैं जब पहुंचा तो उन्होंने कहा जी कि वो लीडर दी अपोजिशन के कमरे बैठे हैं, उनको बुलाएं। मैं कहा नहीं, मैं उधर जाऊंगा। हम सब बैठे खुल के 2 घंटे, अगर आपको याद हो तो इजलास लेट शुरू हुआ। सो विद द कंसेंसस ऑफ दी ऑल पार्टीज, तो ये ना प्लीज़ कहें दिस विल बी ए वेरी अनफेयर स्टेटमेंट कि जी 15-20 सेनेटर्स के मौजूदगी में अगर रेजोल्यूशन पास हो गई। आई वॉक देम थ्रू पूरी जो उस वक्त तक की कार्रवाई थी, सबको हाउस में जब मैंने रेजोल्यूशन पास की, एक तरफ मेरे दस्तखत है, दूसरी तरफ लीडर ऑफ द अपोजिशन का दस्तखत है उस रेजोल्यूशन के ऊपर। यू कैन गो एंड गेट द कॉपी। और उसके बाद कल 2-3 दिन डिबेट हुई। कल जब डिबेट को मैंने कंक्लूड किया, फ्रॉम दैट पॉइंट टिल यस्टरडे इवनिंग, जब वो प्रोरोग हुआ उससे पहले, मैंने जो मज़ीद जो डेवलपमेंट्स हैं इस मामले के हवाले से, आई जस्ट अगेन शेयर्ड एंड आई टोल्ड देम कि जब भी इजलास दोबारा आएगा मैं आपको बाकी भी मज़ीद जो कहा हो, तो मेरा ख्याल है इससे ज़्यादा और क्या ट्रांसपेरेंसी हो सकती है भाई। और सेनेट बिल्कुल ही कौम कटी है। अब हम ऐसे मैसेजेस ना दें। देखिए, इंटरनल पॉलिटिकल डिफरेंसेस हो सकते हैं और वो होते हैं, इट इज़ आर्ट ऑफ पॉलिटिक्स टू डील विद द डिफरेंसेस, और डील करते रहे को मैं तो पहली दफ़ा नहीं कर रहा, मैं पिछले 35 साल से यही झक मार रहा हूँ। तो आई विल कंटिन्यू टू डू दैट प्लीज़। थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू, थैंक यू।
दुरुस्त हर वक्त बर वक्त।